By the way, I just want to tell people, Rob Parker, just before we said hello, he put his sport coat on when he saw like I had the full suit on. I like that. You don't want to give away an advantage. You got to be fully dressed. I like that, Rob. You ready to go?
100% BK. You can't undress me on this show.
Or outdress you. Yeah, that's it. Either way. All right, so this is your topic now. You bring topics to the table. I give you credit. And you're saying it's time to revisit Trout v. Harper. It's a good point. Make your case.
No doubt about it. You know what? When I think about it, I think that Mike Trout is going to wound up being a modern-day Ted Williams. And Ted Williams was a great player, and nobody would deny that. But we never got to see him play really in the postseason with the Red Sox. He batted .200, only had seven postseason games, and Trout has only had 3 postseason games. And BK, so a lot of time when you talk about the greats in baseball, Ted Williams, people know he was great, but he's not in that conversation
and to your point, no, I'll jump in because, right, it's also Ted Williams, up against Joe DiMaggio. That's the problem, is DiMaggio's always in, always winning. And I have to say, Bryce Harper looks a little more like DiMaggio these days, doesn't he?
He sure does. And let me say this. People tried to discredit him, discount him when the Nationals won the year after he went to Philly, and Philly didn't win. But this guy is the real deal. He is that dude. Big time hits, home runs. He's the leader of that team. I remember when they fired Joe Girardi, he was vocal in that there needed to be a change. What don't you like about Bryce Harper?
I'll say this. Over the last 4 years, I worked up some numbers for you here, Rob, because the last 4 years, Trout has just not played a lot. 290 games, Harper 424. The on base, that's wildly in favor of Harper. All right, 20 points, but that counts. And the slugging is not that huge disparity. Look, the prior 9 years, Trout out-hits Harper by a wide margin, but that's the last 4 years, age like 28 to 31, Rob. So the OPS plus 163 to 158. Harper has brought it to another level, and his WAR is even higher than Trout. Trout's still a phenomenal player when he plays. But I think you're right. I think right now it's Harper, not over the whole career, right? Like over the whole career. Like Trout's 9 years, like it just puts him in another category.
Absolutely. I'm not saying that, but I think Trout's the better player. But I would take Bryce Harper's career. I just think what he's been able to do, the MVPs, the big hits, the big moments, right now, he's the pulse. And I think he's back into that conversation with being a face of baseball.
That's a good point. Excellent point. All right, Rangers and Phillies build up, right? Includes big free agent signings. We just talked about it with the Rangers. You love the big free agent signings, right? Like I'm always like, be careful, be careful. You seem more like a guy like, don't be careful, go get that guy.
Go get him. And if you're a Rangers fan and you are down there, you got to be ecstatic because they went out, they opened up their checkbooks. They weren't, I get it, BK. If you could develop some young players and get them in the mix, that's a great thing. But everybody can't develop a bunch of great young players that are going to lead them to a World Series. And if they're able to get to a World Series and maybe even win it, and you look at what they did and going out to get even DeGrom, it didn't work out. Going to trade for Scherzer, Simeon, Seager. I love what they've done. Yeah. And you know what? Hats off to them. They're 2 wins away from going to a World Series.
They're a terrific team right now. I'm not even going to argue that point because you can be caution. You have a lot of caution when you're signing these guys, but it's working right now, and they became an outstanding team very quickly. All right, I hear something else. You're saying Bruce Bochy. You would have Bochy over Joe Torre, manager versus manager, or where are you on that?
I would. If Bochy's able to get them to the World Series, and they still got to get there. The series isn't over. They're up 2-0, going home. They're in a great position. But if they choke it down, I'm taking it back. I mean, they could choke it down, and then you'd have a different conversation. What I love about Bruce Bochy and why I would put him over Joe Torre, I think it's easier if you're on one team that's really good and you manage it. I'm not taking it away from Joe Torre. But if you're able to go somewhere else that doesn't win, that hasn't won, and you change the culture and you're able to get them to a place they've never been, that's when you have to start looking at it. I always look at Bill Parcells as one of the greatest coaches in NFL history. Not only did he win the 2 with the Giants Super Bowls, He went to Dallas, made them better. He went to the Super Bowl with the Patriots, and he took a 1-15 Jets team to the AFC Championship game. And that's how I look at Bruce Bochy, because he's doing it in another spot.
All right, allow me to push back a bit here. One, Joe Torre's got over 300 more wins, or about 300 more wins than Bruce Bochy. He has 13 division titles. Bochy has 6. They met once in the playoffs. Torre's club, admittedly, it's the Yankees, swept Bochy's club. That was the 98 Padres. So he's kind of got him beat with pennants, World Series, division titles, wins. He kind of has them everywhere. You know, he doesn't need him to go to another team.
But Bochy, to be able to go, you just mentioned it, Padres, Giants, and now the Rangers.
Joe won two division titles with the Dodgers, by the way. It's not like he only had the Yankees. And he brought the Braves to the playoffs one year. I know he didn't have a great record before he got to the Yankees. But also, that run that the Yankees had in the multi-tiered system through playoffs, where they're actually still about the only team to consistently win and be that level team through these multi-tiered. Otherwise, it really is kind of a crapshoot. Not those Yankees, and Joe Torre was the manager for that club and that run.
I get that, and I'm not trying to poo-poo what the Yankees did. It was an incredible run. But you tell me, what championship with Willie Mays and Willie McCovey and all those great Giants did they ever win in San Francisco? The answer is 0. And then he also won it. I mean, got them to a World Series in San Diego.
What is Bruce? Because he just happens to be in the same city and it's the same club. And is it 30 or 40 years later? Look, he won 3 World Series titles.
You're not going to give him.
He's a Hall of Famer, but you can't say, well, they never won before. Okay. The Yankees were in a rut, actually, before Joe Torre got there, if you recall, through the Stump Merrill years and early Buck Showalter. Like, they had just started to turn the corner. They became a behemoth under Joe Torre.
I get it, and I give Joe Torre, but I remember when he was hired, and the back page of the Daily News in New York said "Clueless Joe" when he got hired.
Right, and how did that work out? Like 3,000 wins later, like how did that work out? Again, 13 division titles later. How clueless was Joe? 13 division titles later.
Joe did a great job. If you're asking me, I always look at people who can win in multiple places, because then you have to look at them and say, they have something going. It's a little different.
Okay. I prefer overwhelming success anywhere, and that's the guy I picked. But you picked, I love you. I don't want to denigrate his achievements. However, allow me to denigrate his achievements. You're still the best, and that's a good-looking coat. Thank you, Rob. We'll see you. See you next time.
Thank you very much, BK. See you next time.